Hello everybody and welcome back to the long-awaited video of how to make your modern-ish 9 circles level. I wouldn't really call it new because modern 9 circle levels are absolutely insane and I cannot create those. So what we're going to try to do here today to show you how to make a mid 2.1, Bausha Vortex. So, but definitely means not a modern one, but definitely much more than your standard 9 circles level. So, let's begin. So first you're going to need to make a layout, and I have this wonderful layout here that I've constructed, very poorly made, kind of garbage. Once you've made your layout, you want to structure it. So, simple structuring, a little bit more complicated, than your regular old 9 circles level. What we're going to start with is a background color, and I'm going to do some, we kind of like that. We might change, we like that, okay. And what I'm going to do to the ground is make it, just copy the color of the background, and I'm going to make the brightness just a little bit lower. For starters, block design, and it's fairly simple. It's almost like the original, except glow is added. We're gonna create that. So first what you want to do is change your object. So I don't really know how to do it, so someone can tell me, but I just do this, and I'm going to change it to a yellow. It's lighter. Adjust this down. There you go, there's that. And let's make that a little bit brighter. So the block design, it's almost like a 9 circles level, just a classic original 9 circles level. So we're just going to get this out, and we're going to make the detail 1, and we're gonna make it maybe that kind of yellow. I don't know. Blending on that? I don't know. Looks kind of good. So we'll try that for now. So we're just gonna make it like this. So since it is a bit more of a more creative take on this, I'm going to fill this area with bricks. Maybe add a touch of maybe add some of these. I don't know how they look, but we'll make that 2. And we'll copy color 1, and we'll make the brightness a bit higher, and saturation a little lower, and maybe change the hue or something. We'll see what that looks like. Yeah, I love that. How about that? Yeah, that looks interesting. Let's just do that. And this is where you just kind of get creative. So like you can fill in with whatever you want. You can do the standard old these kind of blocks or anything. Most of these Bausha Vortex 2.1 circles levels use 3D lines. So we're just gonna take the 3D lines and do it like that. This is just like your classic circles type. So what I'm gonna do is find the 3DL. I'm gonna go over here and make the 3DL. Copy color, object, and do that. And it should look pretty good. So there you go. And then I'm just going to take these black filler ones and fill it up like that. So there you go. You have a block design-ish. So the second thing you're going to do is you're going to get everybody's favorite cheat system to make things look automatically better is some glow. So glow and blending are everybody's favorite cheater systems. So what I'm gonna do is what I'm gonna do here is place the glow, and I'm gonna go to 3, and I'm gonna copy color 1 and blending, and I'm gonna adjust these somewhat just to make it look interesting. And then I'm gonna look at it and I say it looks weird, but once I put it in the block, doesn't look that bad. So I'm just gonna layer this all around the corners, and even on these edges here. We'll do that too. Same thing with your corner blocks. And yes, I use all these buttons. Leave me alone, guys. The next thing you're gonna do is you're gonna add something else because it just looks kind of bare here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a little bit of glow here on the inside of this, and I'm gonna do something. But I'm gonna make it different, so I want it maybe a 2. Yeah, 2 looks good. So that looks pretty interesting. Maybe a final thing we'll do is make that black, and we'll use a black glow somewhere here, and use a smaller one, and we'll make it the tin we chose, and we'll just kind of, so it gives it a little bit of shading. So yeah, I think that looks pretty good or interesting. Not really great looking, but let's get some of these blocks, and we will change them to 3 like we used for the glow. And you know what? That's a pretty high color, so we'll just kind of spread them along. You know, let's actually, you know, let's change this. Let's make the base the same color, which will make that disappear. And the base the same color is what we choose, and then we can just kind of layer this over it, and then we'll move this up a layer so it's in front of the bricks. And there you go, that looks a lot better. And then we can add some little glow pieces. Actually, you know what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a square. So I'm going to take this 2.1 thing, I'm going to make it just look like that. I don't know, gives it some sort of look. Looks a little bit bare, but I don't know, it might work. So there you go. Alright, so that's a simple block design that looks sort of like a modernish 2.1 9 circles level. So what you want to do is do something like that and go through all of your block design for your cube. Okay, so I have decorated all of this, and now let's move on to the spikes. The spikes are relatively simple, just something like this, and then something inside of that. So I'm going to do this, just use my detail 2. There you go. Ground spike. Or not ground spike, spike. Beautiful, ain't it? Beautiful. And I'm just going to copy and paste it wherever we go. Just the same for the smaller one. We're just going to grab the smaller one, keep that the regular color. Grab this little one, make that the color 2, or a brighter color than what you picked. Alright, so we got the spikes done. They look like spikes. So the next part we're going to do is the gears that we have set up. So since I'm trying to mimic a vortex level, I'm gonna just do what they did, or at least what Bausha Vortex did, and it's fairly simple. So what they did was one of these in their spikes, and like that, basically it. But I'm gonna step it up a little bit and maybe add something like this in here, or just something else in the spike. This is where you can just be creative about it. Okay, so then all the saw blades or gears or whatever, very simple. So let's move on to ground spikes. So ground spikes are also very simple. We're gonna make use of these guys right here, and I always like these, so I'm just gonna use these. So I'm just gonna go along the bottom here, and let's raise it up a little bit. Like these ones work great. And there you go. You also should do this in their layer. I just forgot. I think what I'm going to do is put down everybody's favorite cheat, some glow. And let's use the 3 on that one. Yeah, it looks good. Give it a little bit of just a little bit of niceness. So with this kind of decoration, they just threw in a bunch of junk in the ground spikes. So everybody loves these things, especially in these levels, so I'm just going to grab some of these. And then what we'll do is we'll add one more thing. Let's grab some of these, or something. We'll make that just 3, or is that just too much? I don't know. That looks fine. That looks fine. Don't listen to me, I don't know what I'm telling you. So that looks like some decent ground spike stuff. So now let's move on to the air decoration. So I'm gonna grab something here. Let's make it what it goes with yellow. Let's make a lighter green, I guess. We'll just do a lighter yellow in general, and we'll do blending on it and stuff like that. So color 4. So what I'm gonna do with color 4 is I'm just gonna take anything that glows or makes something interesting on the ground like this. I'm just gonna kind of just spread it out. This is what they did. This is what they did in the original. I don't know. It's kind of crazy. Let's spread this out and make it look. Just fill all the corners. Fill it all. That's some kind of pinwheel thing. I think that's what it's called, a pinwheel. I don't know. And we'll do that. Yeah, let's make a different one. Let's copy color of 5 to 4. And I'll make blending. Just make the brightness not as high. Or not the brightness. Let me change that. Just make the opacity lower, so it's just less visible. We can add some arrows, and our arrows are just arrows, so I'm gonna get busy on these arrows. So 1, and I don't know, 4, something like that, and then we can just. So this is gonna be the bigger arrow, and I'm gonna add like some sort of ring around it. So let's do that. Make that 3, so it's a different color. Or wait, 2. There we go. And then we're gonna let's put one of these behind it, but make it black and make the blending, make it be behind all of that, so it looks in depth, I guess is the right word. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what I'm saying. I don't know what that looks like, but whatever. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. So let's just put the big arrow right here. And yeah, maybe that's just one arrow. Let's just, is there anywhere else I want the big arrow? So let's make it right there. Let's do the big arrow here. I don't know. This looks weird, but whatever. Don't listen to everything I say. Some of this might be just trash. What else I'm gonna do is make a smaller arrow. Let's use these. These Dorito looking things. Let's just do this. Let's just be real lazy. That makes stuff look different. And you know, let's add a little bit of, just add a little bit of stuff to hide the crap. What's that look like? Yeah, that's too bright. Let's use that. And we'll scale it up just a little bit. I don't know. Let's do that. So we're just gonna add these arrows basically everywhere you go. So like small things, like you're gonna want to go up. You're gonna want to go down. Click that. You obviously want to go up there. Just obvious. Arrows, they need to point. This is where it gets a little weird with these levels. Is they have a lot of just kind of weird stuff. So I'm gonna try and just make that work. They fill the Metal Face or whatever his name is. He filled the whole, just the background with just a bunch of objects, and it filled it up. And since it's an Extreme Demon, it has tight gameplay, so it's easy to fill up. But since this isn't really Extreme Demon, it's more like Hard Demon Insane, it makes it a lot harder to make things look like that. Maybe I should have made a harder level, but I'm just gonna, let's do this. Let's add some random things. Like this almost, but like in the, around everything, so it fills it up. So let's just go here. Let's use 5, and we want some of this to be low opacity, so we're just gonna use that. But then, maybe make the other side, maybe make some stuff not use the low opacity, so we'll just make that happen. But yeah, if you get what I'm saying. Make sure not to collide your stuff together. It'll look a lot more messy. You want it to look messy, but connected. Alright, so I got one layer of mess. Maybe let's one layer of mess. Let's add some floating objects. So let's do some. Let's do some of these. Make some of those. Let's use the color 5. So let's more whatever, and let's make these like kind of honeycomb shapes. I don't know how to do. Just give it so it just fill all the blank spaces. We want no empty stuff because that's how it rolls. Then we'll do one more thing to fill in these smaller areas. Let's grab one of these. No, the smaller one. And let's do that. Let's make that. Let's do the brighter one, and then we will grab a spinny thing. I don't know, like this. And we'll make that. I don't know. Looks fine up to me. I don't know. Okay, so that's pretty much, I think, air decoration done. It looks alright, I suppose. A little messy, but hey, the original level looks messy. So, alright. So then let's add stuff to the actual block design. So maybe we're not really done with the block design, but just like some little decoration things. So we don't want them to stick out too much, so we want to use a low opacity. So let's get some of these slopes. Let's go look at some slopes. Let's take some of these here. Or let's get the actual 9 circles block. Let's use that. We'll kind of just this stuff doesn't pop out as much. So we'll just kind of do something like this. You know, add something to it. Make things connect, maybe. You know, something like that. Up here, at least, because up here there's not a lot of things going on. Down there's a lot of things going on. We want to make sure we fill up a lot of stuff. But then again, you don't have to do this. You can I'm just using this as so you guys have like a base of what to work on if you're starting out. This is obviously a little bit more advanced than your typical 9 circles levels. Not by a whole lot, but definitely like if you're starting decoration, this looks somewhat complicated, even though it really isn't. Trust the process. Okay, so there's that, and let's add some. It's gonna look weird, but let's add some of these. I'm gonna add them to a color. Let's copy. I'm doing a lot of copy colors one. Let's copy color 1, but with no blending. So that looks like that. I'm gonna scale the stab. I'm going to put it behind this guy, so it looks like something like this. So just a tiny little detail that, you know, no one's really gonna see, but it does add something. I think this is pretty much done. Oh wait, let's do something to the orbs here. Let's make a simple little something. Let's use these little guys. I like these, and I'm gonna make. This isn't necessarily part of that stuff, but I'm gonna make it be in front of the orbs and make it look somewhat different. Alright, so I think we're done with the block design, or the whole air decoration process. There's no moving background in these levels for some reason, but who knows. You can add one if you want. I'm not going to, simply because I'm not. If you want to find that, there's plenty of good videos on that. So I'm going to move on to pulses. So I think I'm going to adjust the background color just to be a little bit darker. Yeah, that makes everything pop a little bit more. So, and then when I can pulse the background too. So I usually start with the background. So I'm going to follow with the beat to the music. So I'm going to add a pulse. I'm going to be easy here. I'm going to add a background pulse. I'm going to make it do a very nice flash. So think I like that. Maybe I'll make it a little bit less and stretch it out a little longer. Yeah, that's better. So I'm gonna do that for every beat. Okay, so I got a nice slow beat. So what I'm also gonna do is I'm gonna listen to the song for some smaller beats in between the beats, I guess, and use and pulse the objects and stuff. And maybe for these I'm gonna not have a fade in, I'm just gonna have it be instant, so just to make it a little bit more flashy. And since I use more colors than one, I'm gonna add it as like a color 4, which it pulls a different color. I don't know, we'll see what that looks like. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. But maybe I'll stretch the pulse out here just a little bit. One thing I'm going to add left that is not in the original Bausha Vortex is a gradient type deal. So I'm going to grab one of these and I'm going to have it be 10 and I'm going to make it be T3. What am I attached on? So I'm going to have this and I'm going to scale it up to a fairly decent size. I have my little gradient here gradient thing here, and I'm going to add it to a group of 1, and I'm going to have it follow me with a move trigger. So there's all kinds of videos on how to do this, or I don't know if there is, so I'll just show you the basics. So it's obviously group 1, move time, I don't know, 100 for now, I don't know. And then we gotta lock to player X. So there you go. And then it should follow me. Yes, it should. So there's that. So I'm gonna add one of these so it's doesn't, so you don't see it right when you start, so it doesn't look weird. And I'm gonna make it like that, do that. And then once it fades in, totally I'll make it, if it follows me totally, I will put it back to the full opacity with a little bit of fade on it. So it should look pretty decent. So that's just something small I'm adding. And I think we're ready to see the part. Ready to see the finished part. I think we're ready to, and I think I am ready to showcase the finished part.